are Wrestling Ruined Our Marriage podcast. My name is Tanner. This here is Cammie. And we are jumping right into our SmackDown review and opinions for the episode on September 3rd, 2021. It was, as the Hodge twins say, a damn good show.
It was a damn good show.
A damn good show.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
So it kicked off with the Usos coming down to the ring, wearing the Bloodline t-shirts, the brand new clean Bloodline t-shirts.
They're really good looking shirts. I like
Good
them.
looking. They're starting to push that the Bloodline is in your town, and we are the one. They're doing this little one thing, kind of reminds me of the Yes chant. Tonight we have a pay-per-view with AEW. Maybe we'll hear that Yes chant again.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
They finish up their promo or get interrupted by the Street Profits, who are back and ready to roll again. And that kicks off the Usos versus the Street Profits for a number one contender match with Roman closely watching with Paul Heyman in the back. A paranoid Paul Heyman.
I don't think Paul Heyman took his eyes off of Roman Reigns.
Yes. The whole way. It's crazy. So, Street Profits versus the Usos. Pretty decent match. They went all the way through. It was kind of odd. It was a contender match, but they're contending against the champions. I don't know why they're not contending against another, contender to become the number one contender. But,
right.
They worked out pretty dang good. Good match. The Street Profits ended up winning by DQ. Usos went a little crazy, tried beating them all up. And then once it was all done, Roman said, "Go get the Usos for me," to Paul Heyman, who runs out of the locker room. And as he leaves the locker room, he walks right into Mrs.
Blindsided by Kayla
Braxton over there. This was a great segment. Mm-hmm. In the middle of him talking, he has a bright red phone cover. Yeah. One kind of like Brock Lesnar's color? Oh. And who doesn't have a Brock Lesnar theme entrance as their ringtone? So, as she's trying to interview him, his phone starts going off, and you just hear Brock Lesnar's theme music going in the back, and Mrs. Braxton's just dying, just loving every moment of it. And he eventually answers. Goes through a little segment where he's saying, yes, I don't know, it's bad timing, hangs up the phone, looks paranoid as hell, and he walks over, runs right into the janitor, and the janitor starts hysterically laughing.
He says, if you're going to take out the garbage, take out Kayla first. And then the janitor lifts up and starts laughing, and it's Big E. It was pretty funny. That laugh was awesome.
Big
so
E,
funny.
save Raw. Big E,
please.
Save Raw, please. Go cash in that case on Bobby Lashley.
Bobby.
All right, so that finishes up. Great segment. The phone thing was classic. I don't know if Paul Heyman, he's got to come up with his own stuff, because what he does and the way he's able to do it is so much more entertaining than a lot of the other things. If somebody on creative over there is writing this storyline,
kudos.
Yeah, great job. Yeah. This is entertaining as hell to watch all the way through, even with the whole damn storyline with the Usos to Roman to setting everything up that way. You saw Balor lurking. It was a great segment.
It was awesome.
Next up, Becky coming to the ring with a loud pop.
Yep.
And it was Becky, it was the man, it was Becky 2 belts. Now it's Mrs. Big Time Bex is coming down there. She goes through her promo. She says, she's still hearing that she's the bad guy somehow for winning the belt at SummerSlam, which you see a lot of people on that little tangent online on social media right now. And she says, it's not my fault. I've been training the whole time. I was ready. She's supposed to be the champ. She should have been ready. Why am I the bad guy when she wasn't ready? Which entices Mrs. Bianca Belair, the next, I guess the only contender for the belt. They're going to have a match here coming up soon.
Can I just say one thing? When Bianca Belair was coming out to the ring and she was doing her little hop in those high heels, wow, that's some talent. I would have been on my butt so fast.
Yeah.
It would have been a trip to the hospital for me.
She is impressive.
She's ripped. Oh my gosh.
She's strong as hell. That was a big thing, I think, when her character first came in. She was doing a lot of just crazy pressing people over her head. She is strong as hell.
She is so strong.
Man,
that hill jump.
So she came out to the ring, and her her crowd reaction was almost as loud as Becky's, and it was going pretty good. She had a damn good pop. Obviously challenges Becky again, and Becky, who is slowly turning to the heel, declines again, heads to the back. My two main thoughts, I guess, was I did not think that Bianca was going to get a pop that could match, maybe possibly beat Becky's. It was pretty impressive. I don't know how long she can keep this, and I don't know if it's creative. I don't know if it's her cutting her own promos. That they have a lot of hands, in the pot, especially for the newer people for their promos. I like a little bit more realistic promos, and I guess she's the EST, but I don't think every single promo has to have a great est, a best est, a bad est. It was all right, and if she throws it in every now and then, it's okay. You can't have your whole promo to me just be how many creative ways can we throw est into the promo. Keep the flow. Obviously, people have, The Rock, every city he went into was finally The Rock has come back to, and Stone Cold had his what, and bottom line, you have your promo, your go-to taglines, for lack of better words, your catchphrases. I don't think creating est into every single word she possibly can do is
really necessary.
Yeah, exactly. So, pretty good segment. I think they are, they're both pretty over. It's going to be a great match once they're able to get it. So, again, Bianca tries to challenge. Becky says, nope, don't care. Don't care what Roman's doing. Don't care what anybody else is doing. I'm the man. I'm out. So she takes off. Jumping a little bit ahead, eventually down the series of the show, she runs into Sonya Deville. What's the other guy? Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, and they say, hey, she is the number one contender. She does have a match versus you that's already sealed. Let's get it done. Becky says it'll happen kind of on my time. And they say, well, no, it's happening in Extreme Rules, and next week is the contract signing. So we'll see how chaotic that gets. Yeah. But that should wrap that up. I think next week, maybe that's the full heel where Becky doesn't sign. She bails. I don't know. We'll see how that, stay tuned. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Pretty good setup. Finally, after this, finally, you had this big promo package going for Toni Storm. Everybody loves some Toni Storm, and she comes out and then vanishes. Poof, gone. Almost, the same vanishing act that Sasha Banks does. So she's out of there. Nobody knows what the hell happened to her. We finally see Toni Storm in the back. Dolph Ziggler's walking by. He's like, oh, hey, Toni, why don't you come out to the ring and be in my corner? She goes back and forth. He tries to get her to follow him on Instagram, go out to the ring. She says, nah, I am going to go cheer for Rick Boogs. And they go out to the ring. So that leads us to the next match, which is Mr. Boogs and Dolph.
Yep. And it's kind of interesting, Dolph Ziggler, I don't know, they kind of have him on a losing streak. It's kind of sad. But, I guess there has to be a loser in every match.
He's, it's kind of his character. He does the famouser. He's got the long blonde hair. He's got the pink shorts. So much like Badass Billy Gunn. They're almost the exact same character. Badass Billy Gunn got a little bit more of a push, but hopefully Dirty Dogs can get going. I don't know how you're going to keep pushing him if, Rick Boogs, the guitar man, keeps smashing him. But they go out to the ring. They have a match, and Mr. Boogs wins. Gets out the guitar, busts it out. Pretty good shit.
I can't wait for Pat McAfee to come back and dance to that.
Pat's back next week.
Yeah, he's tweeting out. One more week.
So I guess while we're on that topic, this commentary this week was a little bit cleaner. Not as exciting as when Pat's in there, but a little smooth flowing. Obviously, Corey Graves and Michael Cole already have some chemistry there. They know how each other works.
Well, they know how to commentate.
Yeah, so they do pretty decent over
Kevin
there.
Owens
Kevin
does
Owens
not.
Kevin Owens kind of has his own style on everything.
Yeah.
So we get Rollins versus Cesaro. Rollins kind of goes through and says, hey, I watched every single match, or I watched my match with Edge over and over again, and I've watched every match of Edge's, and now I know exactly how Edge beat me, and I'm going to go do it. I'm going to do what he did. During the match, Seth Rollins, being, Seth Rollins, steals some of Edge's old moves. I believe he stole the Edgecutioner. I think.
Imitation's the The greatest form of flattery, right?
Yeah, he's got the pedigree. He's got that. You got the Miz, who, you know, he stole some of the Rock's moves too when they were together, and like Booker T had like the book end or whatever.
Yeah.
So Rollins pulls some of, you know, Edge's own playbook out of his match with Cesaro. Cesaro still put on a good match.
He's so strong.
I don't know if I call him underrated, but just underutilized, I'd say.
Yeah.
Would be the words I use for that. But anyways, so Rollins and him put on the match. Cesaro gets his swings in. You know, we talked about this a little bit last week. Again, underutilized, but his character hasn't evolved at all. And I'm not saying you have to do a big character change. You don't have to be like, you know, Bray Wyatt, who goes from hillbilly farm boy to cult leader to, you know, fiend to here to here. You don't have to evolve that massively. You can even do something like Seth Rollins, who was the architect, and then he's still Seth Rollins, but now he's got the suits, he's got this, his character evolves. Cesaro comes out, and he does the swing, and, you know, some flying Swiss uppercut. Not much there for promos or anything like that, but puts on a good match with Seth Rollins. They got some good chemistry together. Match pretty much ends after, you know, Rollins uses Edge's moves over and over again. There's a point where they're on the outside. Cesaro goes for the Swiss uppercut, and he gets caught upside the head because Rollins hits him with a chair. He snaps the bottom of the chair off and goes to do... They're calling it some kind of Glasgow smile. It's pretty much the crossface with that bar on the chair pulling back their head, just like Edge was doing to Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. He's screaming over and over and over for Edge to come out. Edge will not come out. He finally sets up the good old concerto. Man, I thought he was going to hit it and bring it back. But right when he got it set up, here comes Edge to save the day.
Yeah. I mean... We all know this is setting up for another rematch between the two.
They said it was going to be there. Madison Square Garden next week.
Yeah.
Edge versus Seth Rollins version 2.
Yep.
Keep going. What you thought?
No, it was really cool, and I think that those two can put on a really good performance with each other. They work well. They're both extremely athletic, so I'm excited.
My biggest takeaway on this one is Edge versus Rollins is gold. Mm-hmm. I think I've been on here before. I've never been a big Edge, you know, fan.
Edge fan.
Rollins, his character right now can be just crazy enough to keep it entertaining. Mm-hmm. He's always got his crazy laugh, but now he's just going into that psycho, you know, stalker. I idolize Edge. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to push him to his limits. Mm-hmm. It's going to be as much mental as it is physical. So I think this is going to be great to follow. They put on a great match at SummerSlam. They've kept the storyline going with just little things like this. That it's going to be good. I'm excited to watch. You know, next week in Madison Square Garden.
That'll be good.
Next up, you have another Paul Heyman Roman Reigns promo. Roman is on this show with Paul Heyman, the Usos, all throughout the show, and every segment is entertaining that they're in. There's not one little clip or pull away. Yeah, there's not one clip on this one. They're slowly getting me on the Uso side. I'm not there yet, but there wasn't even a part with the Usos.
Just stay tuned next week. He's going to have a Bloodline shirt. Just watch.
There wasn't even a part with the Usos that was not entertaining tonight. Mm-hmm. Everything that they did for SmackDown was gold. You know, it was working great in their favor. We'll see if they can get that "We Are the One" chant over with everybody. They got the Bloodline rolling. They're trying to get that thing, you know, up and coming.
SmackDown is just on fire right now. I mean,
SmackDown
it was
is good.
So good.
It's entertaining. They're putting
compared to the chaos of Raw this last week. Wow, that was
SmackDown's
huge difference.
Best foot is definitely forward. So back to the Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns segment. So Paul Heyman goes in and says, "Hey, we have a problem." Roman's like, "I don't have any problem." He says, "We have a Brock Lesnar problem." Roman again, "I don't have any problem." He says, "Well, Brock Lesnar is going to be at Madison Square Garden next week." Roman says, "How do you know?" "Well, he called me." And he says he's in Saskatchewan. He's like, "How do you know?" And he goes, "He could be in Minnesota." He's like, "How do you know he's not here?" So again, little hints that Paulie boy knows a little bit more than he's leading on. And
I just love it. I just think it's Paul Heyman's facial expressions just crack me up during the whole entire segment. All the segments, really, Paul Heyman's just deer in the headlights look. It's just,
Yeah.
it's really funny. It's gold.
It's a train wreck waiting to happen.
Yeah.
All exciting. So
I'm so excited for next week.
it should be pretty good. Next up, Baron, excuse me, Happy Corbin. Happy Corbin is coming in hot in the new Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Comes flying in. He is going to be a guest on the Ty wearing KO, the KO show. And as the KO show gets kicked off, Corbin's in there. He's talking to KO, and he says, I have a special guest. And in comes Mr. Logan Paul.
I mean, at least the crowd let him talk for a second this time before just booing the crap out of him.
So, yeah, exactly.
Like rough on Monday Night Raw.
That's one of the funniest segments I've seen, and it wasn't even supposed to be comical. They booed him out of the building. He came back. He still got massive boos. So, but the difference is on Raw, they wouldn't even let him talk. Anytime he opened his mouth, they booed him so bad all the way to the back he couldn't even speak. They set it up nicely with Corbin and Owens where he would talk, they'd get the boo, they were able to get the segment by. He was able to get, his, I can't say 15 minutes of fame because he definitely already has that, but he was able to get a little bit of...
mic time.
Not mic time, but a little bit. I'm thinking revenge is the word, but it's not revenge. Just his comeuppance for wrestling, I guess. He was able to get back on TV, amend the bad Raw crowd, and kind of pull it together with a segment on SmackDown.
But won't it be exciting, because this is all like foretelling in my head, that there's going to be a battle between Kevin Owens and him? At least somewhat of a physical altercation between them.
Maybe a special guest referee.
Who doesn't want to see him get his ass kicked? Just a little. I mean, I do.
So
he's cool, but like, it'd be fun. No?
Nah, not for me.
So
he comes out, he interrupts, the KO show. They go back and forth for a little bit. And Corbin and KO really controlled the whole segment and the crowd. They were able to kind of keep it all together. Eventually, Logan Paul and KO start pushing each other, and then shit gets serious. Logan Paul turns the hat backwards, and it's on. Kevin Owens rips the tie off. We're ready for battle. Cheap shot by Mr. Corbin. Yep. They pretty much jump old KO and bounce out of the ring. So we'll see how it ends up going.
He doesn't want to see Logan Paul get like a KO stunner. I do.
It's not the same as the Austin stunner, but
it's true.
We'll see what he ends up doing. It's even Happy Corbin. Bring on Happy Corbin. The shit's working. Everything's working on SmackDown. Everything. Bring it all on. Except the one thing that's not working for me. Dominic and Sami Zayn.
Well, I mean...
They're trying to get Dominic, so it is what it is, but yeah.
I mean, kind of the same thing that happened the previous week, Okay, go out on your own, Dominic, and, then I'm going to be watching in the back, and then I'm going to come out.
Daddy Ray's coming!
Maybe cost you the match. Yeah, I mean, it's all foreshadowing Ray versus Dominic.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, exactly. He comes out. Ray says you're going to do it by yourself. Segment of the match happens when Dominic comes out of the ring, flies out of the ring, flips over the ref. Bam, bam, bam. Lands right on top of Sammy. Ray's worried, so he goes out to check on him. Dom says, I'm okay. Turns around. Bam. Sami Zayn hits him. 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
So this time, though, Dominic isn't really like shoving Ray away. He just looks like a stunned. Yeah, just a little stunned look. Going to the back. And Mrs. Glow herself is in the back. She pops out, and it's Sonya Deville talking about how hyped up Madison Square Garden is going to be next week.
Yeah, she's on the phone with people.
Yeah, so we'll get into that here in a little bit. But Naomi says, hey, you told me to come ask for a match this week, and where is it? And she goes, oh, I completely forgot about you. Pretty much you're nothing again. Talk to me next week, and we'll see.
Again, to me, that's foreshadowing maybe Sonya Deville coming back into the wrestling field, because she hasn't for a while, but you could see it being between her and Naomi in my head.
What does that do for either of them?
I don't know. It's entertaining. I would be entertained. I love Naomi.
I was waiting for like a Sasha Banks with her blue hair going against Mrs. Glow, but we'll
see
what ends up happening.
Where's Sasha? We need to start that hashtag.
So we'll see what's going to happen. Obviously, they were trying to get Naomi somewhere or something. I don't know where they're going. Maybe it's a Sonya Deville match. Maybe it's something else. Maybe she just goes psycho and wants to beat everybody up. I don't know. But it's enough. It's relevant enough with what they're doing that you're going, okay, something good's gonna happen. We hope something good's gonna happen there.
Yep.
And so that was, another week for Naomi to try and get back on track.
Yep.
And now we go to the head of the table, the head of wrestling.
The head of wrestling.
The head of all wrestling.
I mean, he sells this character
Roman
so
Reigns.
well. I'm enjoying it. It's cool.
This is the Roman everybody wanted to see. This is the one that everybody since the beginning, man, has said Roman needs to be heel. And they babyface. Then one day they're like, oh, let's make him a heel. Oh, shit. That's the best thing we've done in wrestling for a while. Who would have thought?
Raw. Are you watching SmackDown? Please take some direction.
E versus Bobby Lashley. So, Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns for the championship match. So, Finn does his normal 15-minute entrance. He thinks he's the Undertaker, slow as hell to the ring, 15 different things. And thank the Lord the Usos finally come and pull him off one of the things and beat the hell out of him. Maybe that'll get him to speed this shit up. So, they beat him up before the match, beat him up with the chair a bunch of times. He's holding his ribs. They throw him in the ring, and as they're about to jump on and do their splash to him, Street Profits come and chase the Usos out, but the job's already done. Balor's already banged up. He's on the ground, beat up. And then in comes Mr. Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman. Roman's probably got one of the more entertaining entrances coming in. He's got his big guy. Hoo-wah!
I know that's.
But the song is
cool.
sweet. Mm-hmm. And when I go back to like your top wrestlers that I can think of that were just big, scary, intimidating characters, The Undertaker, just regular music. You had Goldberg, just regular music. You had The Rock. You had the If You Smile at the beginning, and then it goes right into regular music. Roman struck very, very good gold with this one. I mean, he knocked out of the park. His old music was pretty good. You had the Shield stuff, but everything about the character's hitting. So, anyways, match will go on. This was nice. So, Finn says he's ready to go. They actually have doctors checking on him before. Roman's kind of walking out, smirking, laughing.
Is he going to be able to compete? Is he not?
So, he says, I'm going for it. So, they start having their match.
I mean, God, I just want to say that if Finn Balor can take a chair and take a beating before the match and still compete, I think Eva Marie probably could have competed.
Yeah. Double D drop, baby. So, they go on. They have their match. It's all right. Roman kicks out of the coup de grace, says, because Roman's the man.
That was everyone kind of thought, oh, well, I don't think everyone really thought, but it was a really close call when he jumped on him and 1, 2, 3. It was very last minute.
And he kicks out with a low blow.
Yep.
His arm right between Balor's legs. And that sets up for Roman to put the guillotine in. And no more Finn Balor.
Yep.
Drops him on the ground like he's yesterday's news. Starts walking out of the ring. His music's playing. And all of a sudden you get a boom, boom, red.
Yeah. And I'm so excited.
Closes out.
You know what, though? The commentators didn't say anything about that. I mean, WWE tweeted about it. But the commentators were just kind of like, oh, yeah, okay, well, bye.
I don't know if they were in on it or they thought it was a mistake or nothing, but they just kept carrying on. You know, everything's blue and then boom, boom. And they're usually, maybe I'm overhyping Pat here, but Pat would have been like, what the hell was that? What was the red there? This is a blue guy.
No kidding, huh?
So it's kind of odd that they didn't jump on it, but we were talking a little bit last week, and I was like, Finn is not good enough. He's not big enough. He looks small against Roman. Finn's character is not big enough to carry WWE. It's not even enough to put, SmackDown, which is huge right now, on their back. Demon Finn, I still don't think it's still not going to happen. But Demon Finn gives a whole new dynamic where you're like, okay, maybe Demon Finn can do something. And now you have Demon Finn, you have the head of the table, and then you have Ponytail Brock coming up from the back. So it should be pretty good.
Next week,
we'll see how they tie it all together. Yeah, they'll see how they tie it all together. So like you were saying, next week, they've already got us hyped for next week, man. How do they do this? So you get Becky and Bianca. First off, just Madison Square Garden in general.
Yeah.
That's everybody.
First time in a very long time.
Not just that, but Madison Square Garden,
Yeah.
you know, the venue of all venues. You put on any show there. UFC was just stoked to when they finally got allowed to go into New York and it was finally legal again. Madison Square Garden. If you're in any type of sports, you know, or entertainment, anything, and you get your dreams to go to Madison Square Garden. So they put on the best of the best. So you have a Bianca versus Becky contract signing. You have the, Brock Lesnar return out there. They did a couple. I mean, they have a bunch of stuff that they hyped up for next week.
Yeah, contract signing, Brock Lesnar. I mean, and it'll be interesting to see what happens between the Street Profits and the Usos. I mean, they are just doing a really kick-ass job with their storytelling. And that's what makes it interesting, and that's what gets you invested into the shows. So, again, Raw, take note.
So, that'll be a really good show. We'll see where the dynamic goes. I'm interested to see how they tie Balor into the mix with Brock Lesnar, where Heyman comes in on everything, what's going to happen with him. Chaos all over. Is Sasha Banks going to come back and...
Hashtag where is Sasha?
Yeah.
Where is Kofi? Where is Sasha?
Is she coming back, and is she going to, interfere in the Becky-Bianca match? And then that's what's going to carry it over. Now it's going to be a triple threat match with the three of them eventually. Like, where's all this going to lead to? But it's not, it's an excited, where's this going to lead to? It's not, what the hell are they doing here? A little more amped up.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great weekend for wrestling. You had this on Friday night, which was a great show, kept everything entertained. And tonight you have the AEW pay-per-view coming on. CM Punk's first match back against Darby Allin. Hopefully CM Punk can still hold a good match with somebody, that brings the energy like Darby Allin does. Supposedly there's some kind of yes guy coming back. You have rumors of, some Adam Cole. Where's he at? Is he coming back?
Did you see that picture of CM Punk's shoes? I saw it, where they had like AC on his shoes one week, and then the next week it was like the BW.
Ice cream, baby.
I mean, they're like, oh, is he trying to tell us, is Adam Cole going to AEW? Is Bray Wyatt going to AEW? So it'll be interesting.
So you have, for AEW style of things, we'll jump on and do a podcast on that here in a second. So follow us up, and we'll touch on that.
See ya.